Hello, and thank you for coming to the SPARTIE Lab website. I am inundated with email requests for information about whether I'm taking students and whether your research aligns with mine. Well, I'd like to let you answer that question by looking around the SPARTIE Lab website, and then feel free to follow up with me afterwards. Here on the website, in addition to watching this video, which I'm currently re-recording to make a little more efficient than the first time I did this, you can find a bunch of information about the team, all of the students who work in the lab. You can email them if you want to ask them questions. Then sometimes we stream our lab meetings. You can look at the lab space that we use. Which we have in these 3D models. This is kind of a work in progress. More importantly, you can look at the research areas, the Proteus effect, virtual meetings in VR, teaching with VR, and human-agent interaction. Those are kind of the main four that I'm focusing on over the next few years. I teach all of my classes in VR remotely. I live in California. I come back to Michigan a few times a year. I see my students quite regularly. We interact through Loom, through Discord, through email. So we are a high functioning, high productivity lab, but I'm not physically there. And I live the reality by studying virtual meetings and also experiencing them at the same time. So check out recent publications. I focus a lot on avatars, the context of education, issues of gender, some health, not as much, some human technology interaction or human computer interaction, but that's more in my theoretical realm. And we try to not double list these. So yeah, video games are perhaps the least emphasized in my current research portfolio. And you should note by looking at these that most of what we're doing is studying the uses and the effects of these media technologies. We are the social and psychological approaches to research on technology interaction effects lab. We are not an engineering lab. We are not even really an HCI lab. We're more of a media psychology lab. And so if you know how to build stuff, that's great. But that's not what we focus on. We do build a lot of stuff. We're building a virtual world for testing virtual meeting platform phenomena right now. That involves using Unity, and students in the lab are doing that. But that's mostly undergrads. That's not PhD students. If you want to be a PhD student in the lab, it's more important that you have experience and an understanding of how the field of media psychology works, which is, within the larger field of communication, which is my home field. And that's where I can help you most. And if you want to do something else, that's totally fine, but I probably won't be able to help you. There might be people in my department. You can go to my department website, Department of Media and Information. You can look up the PhD program in the College of Communication Arts and Sciences, which is the Information and Media PhD program, which combines my department and a couple others. So you can see other faculty. I highly recommend in your essay you mention multiple faculty, at least three, with whom you'd want to work, and specifically describe what about their research is interesting to you as it relates to your interests. It doesn't have to be a ton of detail, but it's got to show that you understand what they're doing and how it relates to what you have done or you want to do. You can also check out all the outreach stuff the lab does. We have a podcast, which I don't really update these days. We have a YouTube channel, with videos relating to the kinds of um, topics that we study. These are all topics from my production team. This is a rap battle that depicts a research study that we conducted comparing synchronous and asynchronous online classes and the effect of social presence on student perceptions of kind of enjoyment and engagement in the class. So we try to have some fun in the lab. We have a robot in the lab. I like to drive it around. Other things we do in the lab, we're putting together excuse me, a meaningful XR conference. There's a Silicon Valley Um, Field experience trip, that's gonna come up again in 2024. We just ran one in 2023. That was the first one. But the 2024 event will be tied to this Meaningful XR conference. We've got the GEL Grant Incubator. So that's the GEL Lab that I'm affiliated with. That's more production oriented. In that we uh, help people write grant proposals and hopefully help them get them. And then we produce the games or simulations that are relevant to the research. But again, our focus is on the kind of human side of the research. We have an XR co-op. This is a place where faculty and students can borrow XR equipment. We have a number of headsets in the department that I use for my students and that are available to other students in the college. So faculty can borrow those. So students in the lab get involved in that process. There's also this larger Teaching 2030 initiative at MSU that we're involved in, which is kind of forward-looking. You can also read or listen to other advice from me for research assistance or on time management. I kind of tried to make this tab a repository for information for current students, but future students might find it interesting as well. So I think I covered all the things. This video is now really long. You can send me a video back if you want. Try to keep it shorter than this one. I like that we can watch them quickly, though, on high speed. So it is efficient. Efficiency is key. We have a lot of work that's happening in the lab, a big team. I'm very, very happy to have such great students and such great prospective students, such as yourself, who are interested in this area of research. And so if we have a chance to work together, that would be great. And if we don't, if you're maybe more of an engineering-oriented student who has experience building things but not really doing the social science, that's okay. Feel free to stay in touch, though it might not be the same type of work that we do in the lab. All right. Good luck to you, and thanks for watching.